We're beating the freeze once again. That's almost kind of you know. It's. Do you get the feeling it's sort of like it's ruining a tradition that we established? Dear me, I'm looking very either dim or, well, which is not unusual for me, or over illuminated. Hopefully, we'll strike a balance at some point. But whatever happens, it's Friday and it's time for a beer. Cheers, everyone. Oh, yes, indeed. That's just the ticket. Heineken again this week, by the way. Although they only delivered half the usual quantity this week from the supermarket shopping order. The rest of it was classed as unavailable, and they couldn't work out what an acceptable substitute was, so they just put the rest of it down. I'm not going to tell you how much I order each week because, frankly, that would be. Well, you know, me doctor might be watching, frankly. But yes, the other half of it was classed as unavailable, so I've had to go out and do a little shopping trip, and they didn't have any more Heineken, not in the sort of size or in the particular package that I usually buy it in. So they had it in bottles, basically. You know, I prefer it out if I can. So I had to get some Carlsberg export, but that will keep me going. And there's my mate, Steve Cassidy. I tell you what, Steve, I keep forgetting to do this. So I'm just going to, we'll have a look and see who's in the chat in a moment. But for the moment, I'm just going to make Steve a mod so he can post links to his own live streams and videos and stuff in the chat. So yes, there we go. There you go, Steve. Consider yourself a moderator now, mate. And if anyone else has a YouTube presence, I know if when Johnny from Budget Guitar pops over, I'll when he shows up sometime, I'll make him a moderator as well, because you know. It's all about supporting each other, isn't it? Let's see who was first in this week. We have Terry Day, then Dave Fiendish, Anton, then Auto Geddon 1, Boulder 64, PFY Guitars is in, and then there's Rent to Kill, Cylon Hybrid, Timbo, Peter Nicholson, Malcolm Thompson, Peter Collins, there's Fiend Tunes, and Malcolm Spillett. We've also got David James, Steve Entwistle, Dr. Gomez 1, Grandpa Joe, excuse me, wishing us a happy Friday and weekend. We've got Rubbish Guitar Bloke. We've got Tom Clark. Rubbish Guitar Bloke, you've got your own little YouTube thing as well. I must kind of add you as a mod, but I'll get through this first. Then Johnny Random is in. No beer tonight. I'm driving after the show, but have fun. He says, well, we'll have yours for you, mate. Then there's Peter S., Vincent Brennan, Michael Purcell, John Rose, Sean House, and Austin Barrett. Excuse me. We got Johnny D, we've got Stuart Young, we've got Chris Ottewell, we've got Ben Allmark. Grandpa Joe is very much doing me a bit of a favour there, Grandpa Joe. He's recommending my Tier 2 Patreon level, which he is a partaker of. I'll tell you more about that as the stream goes on. You probably know already, but I'm going to give it a plug anyway. Then we got Ben Allmark, the Dale of 22. Gary Shaw is in, and sometimes dim, never thin. And Paul Trainer is in, and Paul Trainer's bung me a £5. Thank you so much, sir. That is very much appreciated. And I'll spend it on sensible things like beer and curry and other such life-enhancing substances. Then we got 60s man, we got Jed Ellis, we got the Essex Cat, Nathan, Cal Texbert is in. So is Peter Williams, Edwin Toonan, greetings from Amsterdam, he says. Well, greetings from Redcar. There's Calby and the Rocco Cat. We got Peter Goddard, David Evans, and John Channing. There's Rent to Kill. I thought I mentioned you already, mate. Am I getting deja vu? But if I didn't, I just did. Then we've got Robert Forsyth, Stevie Mack, Colin Falcon, and Edward P. There's William Forrest, and who else we got? We got Mr. Chris 5254, Mott the Hoople, He's on the Cronenberg 1664 tonight. Oh, that's a loopy juice. That really does kind of knock me sideways. That stuff. I don't know why. It's got no higher alcohol content than anything else, but it's. I think it's because it's just so easy to kind of chug down. What you saying there, Mott the Hoople? Anyone have preferences for slide tunings for different genres? Does string gauge play a part? On the rare occasions I play slide, mate, I always do it in open tunings, because then, in standard tuning rather, because then the notes are all where I left them and I don't have to rethink the fretboard. We've got Guitar Man, we've got Neil Roberts, we've got Graham Campbell, we've got Strumming Roman, Jonah Cornish is in, and as I said earlier, there's Steve Cassidy, and who else have we got? We've got Bill Mumbo, and anyone else? Any stragglers? I can't see. Got Guitar Bass Dude and Mississippi Blues. Nice to see you, mate. And Mr. Chris 5254 is asking for moderator status. I'll do that in a moment. I'll just open that up on, because I can't do it from the StreamYard view. I've got to do it from the what's it, the YouTube view, and so I need to open another tab to do that. We've got Shane Allen, we've got Johnny, we've got Savvy64, Jim Brennan, and I believe that rounds everyone off. Jonah Cornish, you are a star, sir. I didn't see that. I must have missed that one. Thank you so much for the curry fund. You're a gentleman, sir. Thank you so much. I can't believe how generous you chaps are. Let's celebrate first super on the live stream. What happens if I click on that? I can't see from here. But anyway, let's find Rubbish Guitar Bloke. There's Mr. Chris. Let's make you a moderator as well, mate. There you go. Mr. Chris is now officially a moderator, and let's go and find Rubbish Guitar Bloke, because he's got a YouTube thing going on as well. He was a bit further up the chat there, so I usually say scrolling down, don't I? But I'm scrolling up at the moment. Where's Rubbish Guitar Bloke? Where have you gone, mate? You're hiding. I can't see the chat. I can't see you in the chat. And yeah, I'm missing some of the YouTube chat, unfortunately. I basically, the first comment or the first intervention in the chat isn't here. I'm basically missing everyone from Gary Shaw downwards on the YouTube side of things. I don't know where it's all gone, so I shall have to add Rubbish Guitar Bloke another time. Edwin Toon, oh dear me, you people are being so very generous. Raymondo El Rex, £2 for extra poppadom. Oh, you can always find room for an extra one of those, can't you, mate? And there's Edwin Toonan. Cheers, mate. I bought a Bogner Alchemist amp for £200. What an amp! That sounds like a real bargain you've got there, mate. You don't tend to associate the word Bogner amps and bargain with and deal with it. They're not words you tend to use in the same sentence, are they? So that's impressive, mate. Well done. Excuse me, I just need a wee swallow. And I see we've got Jeff Crouching. There's Rubbish Guitar Bloke. I found you now. Now I've got to bring back the YouTube view. So let's go and do that. Just trying to get all the housekeeping up of the way. Then I can just kind of blether on about nonsense. So just got to wait for this to come up. Where is it? Where's Rubbish Guitar Bloke? There you go. Rubbish Guitar Bloke is now a moderator. There you go, mate. So thank you so much to everyone for the super chats. Much appreciated. As our late lamented friend Mike from China Guitar Skeptic used to say, never courted, always appreciated. I'm genuinely grateful, and as I say, I will put it all to good use. It will all go on beer and curry and useful things like. Oh, another one. Searching for tone. Hit the like button. Not a fan of curry. Here's something to wash it down. Let's make searching for tone a mod as well, because I believe you have your own YouTube thing, and then. I think we'll just get on with the stream, because this could just turn into an exercise in reading out comments and making people into moderators. But there we go. So if you want to plug any of you people who are now in possession of moderator status, you can put links in the chat. You can post links to your own stuff and everything, and just plug away, because hopefully that gets you a little bit of publicity and a few more clicks and a few more views, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? I do kind of get a little bit frustrated when people say, and as they sometimes do, I'll just move this camera up a little bit. So when people sometimes say to me, "Oh, you're just chasing clicks and views," well, yeah. What else am I supposed to be doing by posting videos and stuff? So anyway, I don't understand. Anyway, we've got the intros out of the way. We've got the roll call. Let's tell you what's coming up on the channel this week. Sunday is all about my kind of, as we say in modern times, my journey as a guitar player. How I went from being a dyed-in-the-wool Strataholic. If you didn't own a Strat, you weren't a proper guitarist. That was how I used to think in the from, I guess, the mid to late 80s right the way through, for about 20 years really, into the 2000s. And now I don't own any kind of Strat, and it doesn't leave a Strat-shaped hole in my existence, which I would have once considered it unconscionable to not own a 3-pickup kind of bolt-on Strat-style guitar. But, and it's basically about how I evolved from being a Strat guy to being a sort of Telecaster Les Paul aficionado. So that is the video for Sunday, and of course a big thank you, as you'll see in advance, for Colin Falcon for loaning me his lovely Strat to do that video with. Thank you, Colin, much appreciated. Then on Monday, I can't say for certain that he did play this solo, but I like to believe that he did. And it's the first time I think I've knowingly tackled one of this chap's solos. I'm talking about the legendary Wrecking Crew guitar player, Tommy Tedesco. He was one of the roster of guitarists that played on a famous motion picture soundtrack from the late 1970s, starring John Travolta and Olivia Newton-John. Of course, you know which movie I'm talking about. And yeah, it's Grease Lightning. I won't tease you anymore. There's a guitar solo on that, and it sounds like it's being played on a Telecaster. And which name on that roster of guitar players is famous for using a Telecaster? I want to believe it's Tommy Tedesco, but if anybody knows any different, then please correct me. So then Tuesday we move on to my top 5 bass lines, and there's a few belters in there, from bands that you don't normally necessarily associate with having virtuoso bass players in them. The Four Seasons make an appearance on that list, as does The Jam. So if you want to know who else is on that list, because I've forgotten now, those are the 2 that stick in my mind, but that you have to watch on Tuesday. Then another Rhythm Wednesday video on, well, guess what, Wednesday, where I'm talking about the subtle art of left-hand damping and the percussive impact it can have on your playing. How you can basically use the guitar as kind of a chordal instrument, but also as a part percussion instrument as well. So that's what we're looking at on Wednesday. And then Thursday's video is a follow-up on, I can't show them because they're over there plugged in, the wireless system that I gave you my first impressions of yesterday. A lot of people mentioned an increased amount of hiss on the wireless versus the cable sounds. And I didn't notice it in the room when I was recording, but I did notice it when I watched the video back. And I've cured it, you'll be glad to know. Two things I did. I don't know how much each of these things contributes to the overall getting rid of the hiss, but there are various different channels that you can put these wireless things on. You just kind of cycle through them just by pressing a button on the receiver and the transmitter. I did that, and I just kind of ever so slightly altered the setting on the noise gate that I have on all the time, and now the hiss be gone. So it's kind of, the hiss is no more. But basically in that video I'm going to be doing a battery test. I'm also going to be doing a range test as well. So, does the battery last all day, and how far away from the receiver can you go with the transmitter in order to still be in range. So if you're interested in any of those things, and there's also in that video you'll see that there is a rather unusual piece of equipment that is supposed to come with those wireless dongles, and I didn't get it. And if that's a bit cryptic, well, yeah, history, says Tom Clark, then you'll have to just watch on Thursday, won't you? But it's one of those things that you read it and you think, yeah, okay, really? But anyway, watch on Thursday, you'll see what I mean. Anyway, I'm just going to have a quick wee vape. Oh, yes, indeed. Irish coffee flavour, by the way. What are you saying there? Let's Steel Horse. What are you saying there, mate? Interesting take on Grease. The two main characters died that summer by drowning. When the car takes off at the end, is that them going to heaven? Thoughts? Okay, I'd never thought of it like that. I suppose it could be. It's the sort of thing that is in the realm of fan fiction, isn't it? Which is an increasing thing these days. I've read a couple of fan fiction books because I don't read to enlighten myself or to educate myself. I read for entertainment, or listen to audiobooks these days for entertainment. And I'm not ashamed to say that I'm a big fan of the Lee Child, Jack Reacher series of books. Great TV show, by the way. The thing about Jack Reacher is going off on a tangent. He's portrayed in the books as this 6'5" behemoth, this mountain of a man. And who did they get to play him in the movies? Tom Cruise. Yes. Can anyone spot the flaw in that plan? But yeah, I've read a couple of fan fiction books based on the Lee Child stuff, and what encouraged me was, I think Lee Child left a review on one of them saying it was, he was proud to have inspired it. They should have cast Gary Coleman, says Steve Cassidy Guitar. It's about the same sort of thing, wasn't it? Mick Brooks, what are you saying there, mate? I think one of the best bass lines which may be overlooked is on the Jackson 5's I Want You Back. Yeah. Now you mention it, mate, I'm kind of hearing it in my head, and I'd go along with you on that. Johnny D is saying, my hiss went down when I started using my wireless. Much to my surprise, as I use decent quality leads too. Yeah, it's just I chew through so many guitar leads, and some wise guy in the comments said, well, just don't run over the cable with your chair then. Well, yeah, but it's a fact of life that you're going to. You don't do it purposefully. You don't kind of say, oh, there's a cable there, crash. But, it's just an inevitable fact that occasionally it happens. I was always, just having to kind of shell out another 20 odd quid on a decent lead, or even more, because you can pay a ridiculous amount for leads. I don't buy the cheap leads, even though I did that test a while ago, testing out kind of decent quality cables with the sort of cheap plasticky ones that come with a budget guitar, and there was absolutely no difference. Interestingly, I did that test by, kind of repeating the same thing over and over again by using a looper pedal, and people said, "Oh, the impedance is wrong. You should have done it with." And if I hadn't used a looper pedal and used the same and played it each time, people said, "Oh, but yes, you weren't comparing like with like." And it doesn't matter. Any pedal in a signal chain is going to affect the impedance that the amp sees. And any lead in the signal chain is going to, kind of interact with the pedals. So I still maintain that was a valid test. So there. Anyway, Peter Nicholson saying, "Are you going to a local kebab house?" I think that is. It's probably going to be curry in the Robson household tonight. We're having a bit of a discussion after the live stream. Me and Mrs. Robson would going to decide whether we're going to have the curry that I got out of the freezer earlier, or whether we're going to kind of just put that in the fridge overnight, have that tomorrow, and maybe have something that's, from the local Colonel Sanders establishment, because we haven't had that in ages, and, you just get a craving. Mr. Chris, my Locato sets off the cat's tracer. There you go. Mr. Big by Free, cracking bass line. Yes. Absolutely. I'll go along with that. Excuse me. Andy Fraser was he still around? I don't know. I can't remember. Is Andy Fraser still with us? But let's say the bass lines that Andy Fraser, this is only my second beer. Andy Fraser played on all those old Cream songs. Again, Cream songs. What's wrong with me? Free songs. A lot of them were just pivotal in the song. And just kind of such an identifiable part of it. For instance, the bass part on All Right Now is just as iconic as the Paul Kossoff guitar part. I remember years ago, I did one of the solo analysis videos on the solo from All Right Now. And obviously that included putting a backing track together for it. And I spent as long learning the bass part for that backing track as I did actually learning the solo. Malcolm Spillett is saying, my local KFC has been shut down twice by health authorities. Yeah, we've got a new one, which is in a sort of relatively new shopping precinct, just kind of in town. It's not on the main high street, but the old one used to be on the main high street, and that got shut down for very similar reasons. But this is a different franchisee. So it's, any of these franchise models like this, it's just how the person who's running that particular franchise chooses to run it. And I don't think it was actually the health inspections people that shut it down. I think he was forced to close because, somebody from head office, somebody from KFC came and said, "Not in our name. You're not running this place at this standard in our name." So I think that's why they had to close. Bill Mumbo, why don't you get one of those lovely curly leads that never, ever, ever trip you up on stage? So you go arse over head and pull your amp over. Ask me how I know. Yes. That was a 70s thing, wasn't it? When did Brian May stop using those curly guitar leads, by the way? Because I saw a rig rundown of him, and it's a few years old, a little while ago. I've rewatched it a few times, and he's using a wireless now. But one of my abiding memories of images in my mind of Brian May is with that sort of curly guitar lead trailing off to the back of the stage with a stack of Vox AC30s. Rent to Kill is asking, how is Dougal this week? My dog will be in the car for 2 hours tomorrow going to Ingold Mells. Ingold Mells, is that how you pronounce that? I think we'll spend 3 hours trying to get him in the car. Yeah, Dougal's fine, and yeah, he's a bit like that with cars as well. Our local vet closed down. It's not the it basically there's a string of vets practices in this area that have various kind of branches, and our local branch closed down, and it's the nearest one we've got to go to now is rather than it being a walk away, it's a cab ride away. And fortunately, we have a local taxi firm that is very understanding about having dogs in the car, and so we don't have any problem getting him there. But it is a bit of a kind of faff around in the car. So much so that, and it's an even more of a faff around getting Dougal into the vets. The last time he was there, they said, "I'm afraid he got rather stressed, Mr. Robson. We need to give you these tablets to give him before you bring him next time. So I've got to tranquilise the poor little bugger before we get him." And that makes it a bit easier in the car as well, it has to be said. First KFC, then the vets. What's going on in Redcar? It was called lockdown, mate. Yeah, it's. I don't want to get into the pros and cons of that, because that inevitably will lead to a discussion of the topic of politics, which I want to keep this channel as clear of as possible, because it's a very divisive subject. But one effect that it did have was that it harmed a lot of local businesses. Now, I'm not saying that lockdown was responsible for the KFC shutting down, but I think it was at the root cause of what caused them to close our local branch office of the vets. Basically, they kept the big branch open in the next town down the coast, but ours was just like a little kind of branch office that, they couldn't afford to keep staffed, basically. Steve Cassidy is saying, any Red Carmageddon updates? Not really, mate. I've put that out there a few times about doing another Red Carmageddon event, which as event, God, that sounds really grand, doesn't it? It's basically a bunch of you lads from YouTube kind of booking an Airbnb or a bed and breakfast or something in travelling distance of Redcar, and coming here for a night on the beer and a curry, and just kind of telling stories and just shooting the breeze and drinking beer and having a mighty old time. It's my version of 42 Gear Street, where we just kind of drink. We don't worry about guitars. We just drink beer and have a curry. It's. What I'll say is that the response I've had from some people is very, very enthusiastic, but in terms of the numbers, it doesn't look like it's going to be viable anytime soon. We did one in 2021. We did another one in 2023. So maybe if it's a biannual thing, if we get into 2025, and there seems to be more of a head of steam. If you're interested in coming up to Redcar for a night on the beer and a curry and just having basically as described above, then just ping me an email, grguitartuition@gmail.com, and we can make something happen if there's enough people interested. Anyway, speaking of pinging me an email, it's going down well tonight. If you have any pictures of the guitars in your life, if you have any pictures of the guitars that are the ones that you pick up and play every day, or that special one that you only bring out for special occasions, then you know what to do. Send them to me. Send the pictures to me, grguitartuition@gmail.com. And you never know, they may just end up in the what is. I didn't coin this phrase, by the way. I honestly didn't, but it has become known as the Readers' Wives section of the live stream. Apparently, that refers to a kind of feature that you get in certain magazines that obviously I would have no knowledge of. But anyway, that's what it's time for now. We're at the halfway point in the live stream, so let's have a look at some of the guitar pictures that have been sent in. Well, I was going to say being sent in this week, but, I just pick them at random. And here's the first lot. This is a lovely bunch of guitars belonging to Blue Sofa Songs. He did explain in the email what they all were, but I think we can all kind of see what they are. We've got a Cort HSS Strat style guitar. Now, I know from experience that this is a really nice guitar that punches well above its weight. One of my students has one of these as his backup guitar. His main guitar is some kind of HSS Ibanez or something like that, I think he's got. But this is his backup guitar that he gigs with, and like in case of string breakages and stuff. And he brings this one to the lesson with him, and I played it. It's a lovely guitar. Then this is the guitar that Mr. Blue Sofa Songs purchased on my recommendation, the Harley Benton SC 552. Lovely single cut. It's. I had one of these, and the only reason I got rid of it, I gave it away in a competition back in, I think, 2022. But beautiful guitar. In many ways, a guitar that really punches above its weight in terms of spec, just purely because of the stainless steel frets. Then we've got, what is this? A Faisley Rickenbacker clone of some description. I've never ever really gassed for a Rickenbacker, it has to be said, but it certainly looks the part, doesn't it? If you're kind of into that 60s kind of John Lennon sort of thing, then that'll kind of give you a large portion of the look. If you're in like a kind of a Beatlesy kind of tribute band, or if you're just in a covers band and you're doing Beatles stuff, then that would be something to consider. Then we've got, excuse me, a Squier Strat of some description, and that looks very much like a Squier Classic Vibe 60s Telly, 60s Strat, rather. Sorry, a Squier Telly of some description. Again, I do apologise, my head's in the shed tonight. And then a Squier Classic Vibe 60s Strat, lovely thing in Lake Placid Blue. And is that a gear for... It is, it's a Gear for Music branded bass. Everything you need, really. Lots of tonal ground covered there, really. Let's see what's next. Another one from the David Phillips collection. This PRS style guitar, originally branded Benson. I've played a few of those guitars. A couple of me students have had them over the years. He bought this for £89 as an unfinished project. Needed rusted parts replaced, new pickup rings and bridge. The studs for a former 2-point trem system were stuck fast. Did not match any known replacement part. He removed the studs, filled the holes, fitted a fender bridge, as is evident in the in the inlay motif at the 12th fret. It's a derivative of the vintage VRS model, apparently from the same factory. But yeah, it's I bet it has all the hallmarks of a good sort of workhorse kind of parts guitar, that, doesn't it? Anyway, what we got next? We've got some guitars from David James. We've got some Harley Bentons, by the look of it. We've got a Harley Benton, is that an ST62? That's the CST24. And which one's this? This is... probably the TE52, I think, something like that. Apologies if I'm wrong. But yeah, again, I would happily I have used pretty much all of those guitars professionally, to make videos with them. I'd happily gig with them. Just great quality guitars, that's to be said. Then this one belongs to Derek Stopperton, his Echo, which I believe was... rescued from a tip or something of that nature. Proper old school kind of vintage acoustic guitar, the sort of thing that was probably a generation before me in terms of being like the cheap acoustic guitar that you could buy. My first acoustic guitar wasn't too different from this. It was a K acoustic, and it was perhaps just a little bit more well adorned, but not much. But that's just such a charming thing. It just makes you think, yeah, the young uns today, as it were, that are complaining that they can't play a bar chord on their cheap guitar that they bought or that they got given, and it's too difficult to play. Yeah, try playing on one of those. Then we've got Dinger 63 Gretsch G2215P90 Streamliner. That's a beautiful looking guitar. There's just something about the elegant lines on that. Just the wrap over bridge. Is that a metallic kind of blue finish? I don't think it is. But just something about that colour, those lines, those pickups. You just know that's going to be an absolutely fantastic guitar to play some rootsy kind of old school blues on. My instinct with that would be just kind of crank the bridge way up high and set it up for slide. But that's a beautiful guitar for that. Then we've got Ian Cochran here with his Eastman. I can't remember the model number. Eastman T59V. There we go. It's in the clues in the title. Beautiful looking 335 style guitar, and his Gibson Standard 50s gold top. Again, I just I used to be gassing for an Eastman guitar mightily. I'm not quite there. I'm not quite at that level at the moment. But that could rekindle it. That Eastman looks absolutely gorgeous. And then we've got John Dixon's Epiphone Les Paul, which, you know what, if you were to do that and just kind of get the headstock out the way, I know it's the wrong way around, but obviously John is a bit of a southpaw by persuasion. That looks like something from a Gibson custom shop, doesn't it? That looks absolutely epic. And the finish on that is just beautiful. And there's Theme Tunes Agile guitar, lovely big old jazz box. That's the orange colour on it just makes me think Brian Setzer, but then you realise there isn't, a Bigsby on it. But it's that would be my instinct to kind of do something like that. Is just chuck a Bigsby on it and go full on kind of Stray Cats with it. Then some more guitars from the collection of that mate of David Phillips. This chap Richard, very briefly in his possession in the 90s. Richard owned a Denmark Street shop prior to its auction, and owned by Hendrix Stratocaster. Ooh, indeed. If that can be authenticated, that's an incredibly important guitar to have had pass through your hands. Still in Richard's possession, but sadly only a hand painted Epiphone branded copy of the Clapton's original Fool guitar. Yeah, didn't Vintage do a copy of that for a little while? And I don't know if they got told to cease and desist or whether they just made it as a limited edition thing. But I wonder if anyone's seen one of those recently, the Epiphone version of that guitar. What's next? Oh, here we go. This is Stephen Hedges' collection, or some of them at least. What we got? We've got a Fender. I'm not sure what model of Strat that is, but it's. He did say in the email, and I can't remember, but it's obviously some kind of 50s style thing. Although is that a 3-tone burst there? Difficult to tell. But anyway, then we've got a couple of single cuts, a Tokai Love Rock and a Bernie Les Paul copy, which I think Steve said he's put some burst bookers in that, and it's the best Les Paul he's owned. And what we got at the end here, this looks like another Fender, and I do apologise. I should find a way of getting the information to hand that people email me with the guitar pictures, but if you're watching, put it in the chat. And nice couple of Strats, nice couple of Les Pauls, bish bash bosh. That's a nice collection, really, isn't it? And certainly kind of makes for a nice kind of display on the wall. Anyway, chaps, that's the Reader's Wives section for this week. Torty Guard on the Sunbird. Sorry. There's Craig Stamen. I think there should be a new Guitar Week, so I'm off to Gear for Music, as they have an Ormsby I'm gassing for could be an expensive day. Oh, dear me. Yes, that's very much in your wheelhouse, isn't it, Craig? That sort of, if anyone remembers Craig appearing on the channel back in, back in January or sometime, demoing his 8-string Strandberg, then you'll know that Craig is a bit of a shredder. I'm his guitar teacher, and even I don't know what he learned. I was his guitar teacher many years ago. I don't know where he picked up all that stuff from, because he was like, okay, yeah, you've done all right, haven't you, Craig? What were you saying there, Lamb? The Torty Guard on the Sunburst makes me think Deluxe Roadhouse Strat. That could well be it, mate. Yes, it's. I used to have a poster in the 90s that was adorned the office wall that I was working from at the time, and it was, if anyone remembers this poster, it was called The Full Range, and it was every single electric guitar that Fender made, like every one of them, just little kind of thumbnail pics on a big poster, like a properly big poster that was, I don't know, whatever the standard size is for a poster, it was bigger than that. And, and the fact that in the 1990s you could fit every single electric guitar, Stratocaster, Telecaster, Jazzmaster, everything, you could fit every single Fender guitar in existence in the range on a single poster. It made them easy to remember, but now you'd probably struggle to fit every single guitar Fender make in a bloody phone book. It's. Does anyone else think that perhaps it might be time for these big guitar companies to thin the herd a little bit? Maybe I'm just kind of getting old and losing track of things, but I think it would be possibly an idea worth thinking about. Do a few things really, really well, rather than spreading yourself too thin. Johnny Random saying, I thought you were going to say a poster of Joe Guest. I have no idea who. I'm not familiar with her work, shall we say. Anyway, Grandpa Joe is saying, since many of us can't make a trip to Redcar, you can always join Tier 2 and have a Zoom Redcar again with twice a month with John and a few chaps that are here in the chat. Yeah, that is it. And I've actually got a list of things that I need to talk about tonight, and I get so bloody distracted blethering away that I forget. Anyway, beer number 3. We're 15 minutes or so left. Let's see if I can get rid of the third beer in the time we've got remaining. And then I want to talk about the things that I've got on my list to talk about. First of all, I can multitask because I'm a bloke. While I'm pouring the beer, not too bad a pour actually. That is it. Not too flaky. The other section we could include in the show is if you've got one of these marvellous items of apparel, the Fattercasters t-shirt. Thank you, Searching for Tone. That's very generous of you. Thank you so much, mate. You've been very generous with your donations to my curry and beer fund this evening. It is massively appreciated. And the lamb as well. You gentlemen are spoiling me this evening. Thank you so much. I was at the doctor's the other day and I got told I need to lose weight. Yeah, like that's going to happen with you lot buying me beers. Yes, if you have a Fattercasters t-shirt, take a picture of yourself wearing it, and we'll start doing that as another part of the live stream as well. So that's t-shirts I need to talk about. New book. I'm writing another book. How to play melodic rock lead guitar. This one is turning out to be a bit more of a project than I thought. I am, at the moment, I've just crossed 20,000 words, 50 odd pages of A4, loads of diagrams and tabs and jam tracks and video demonstrations and stuff. And it's basically everything about playing rock lead guitar. I doubt it'll be ready this year at this pace, but I'll keep you posted. But it's very much, if you've got either of the other two books, Practical Music Theory for the Rock Guitarist or the Blues Guitar Bible, then you know what sort of thing to expect. Basically, my prose style, which is very much like, somebody once said that when they're reading the book, they can imagine me speaking. So if you like how I talk, then that's kind of how I tend to write, I suppose. But anyway, that's coming soon. So T-shirts, new book. Yes, there's going to be a new feature coming up where I got an email from a company that. Actually, I didn't get an email. It was posted to me with a free sample. What do you do when someone gives you a business card? You probably tuck it in the back of your wallet and you never kind of think about it again. That's even if you bother keeping it. But this company said that they could do me a deal on some branded pens. So we've now got some branded pens. And I'm going to think of reasons, don't know what they are yet, but I'm going to think of reasons to start giving these away. I think the first thing I'm going to do is all of the Tier 2 supporters on Patreon will be getting one of these. So if you're a Tier 2 supporter, ping me an email with your postal address wherever you are in the world. I can't imagine the shipping cost of a pen to, Timbuktu or out of Mongolia or wherever you might be on the globe will be prohibitively expensive. I'll send you one of these pens because I've got a crate full of them up there. But yeah, there's going to be sort of giveaways of these pens. And I've got to tell you that they do, yes, Cracker Jack. Yeah, the old Cracker Jack pencil. Yeah, they are like, when you get that sort of tactile experience of writing with a pen, these are a good quality pen. Think Papermate or Parker or any that, kind of like those posh pens that used to be sort of quite the thing in the 70s and 80s. So I'm going to be doing that. And yes, I've had a couple of emails if I'm going to do anything. Look at reviewing the what's it, not the quad cortex, the nano cortex, that sort of slimmed down amp capture kind of thing. Curiously, I don't know why, because usually this kind of kit doesn't really float my boat. I've got my guitar tone sorted, and it's like that matter is settled. That's boxed off. But for some reason, that has piqued my interest. And think Mont Blanc says the lamp. Yeah, that's another posh brand of pen, isn't it? Or Schaefer, that was another brand of pen. That's what when you were at in a rough old comprehensive school like I was in the 80s, the posh kids always used to turn up with a Schaefer pen. Where I was using, the little kind of stubby ones that you get in that your dad nicked from the bookie's office. That's usually what I was writing my English homework with. Anyway. So I've spoken about the pens. Tier 2, yes, the Tier 2 membership on Patreon. I'm really enjoying doing the extra content for that. I've sort of settled into a rhythm with it now where I'm doing reaction videos. So if you're interested in watching me react to comedy routines and to various gig footage and stuff like that, I've got a stack of those. I've done 3 that I've uploaded, and I've got at least another half a dozen in the works to do. So that's what I'm going to be putting up there. There's the Tier 2 members, as I say, you're going to be getting a pen. So if you're a Tier 2 member, then ping me. I'll put this up on Patreon as well, for the relevant members. It's only another $3 a month, and you still get all the rest of the usual stuff, and a twice monthly kind of Zoom chat with me and the other chaps who are on the tier 2 thing as well. And it's basically just it's like an episode of Grumpy Old Men, really. So if that sounds like your sort of thing, then sign up for it. So anyway, I think I've rattled through my list of things that I needed to talk about. Now I need to rattle through this beer. Mark Fay is saying, back in the day, in the early 70s, for me and my mates, we aspired to a Gibson or a Fender because they were the benchmark. Now you don't know where you are with them. Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's my recollection as well. You know, it's you wanted a good guitar. That's all you wanted. You know, you wanted something that stayed in tune and sounded like made the noises and the tones that you were hearing on the records and albums you were listening to. And you know, it was just an unattainable dream to own a real Fender or a real Gibson. So you knew that was unrealistic. So you set your sights on something a little bit more attainable. So which is, you know, I mean, I remember absolutely lusting after this Washburn guitar. I can't remember what it was, but it was like a Washburn sort of Les Paul kind of thing. And then Aria Pro 2 came along, and saw Andy Summers playing one, and that was the first time that I thought, there's a rock star, and he's playing a guitar that I can just about afford. And I think that's when that sort of gap between what you wanted and what you could achieve actually began to narrow. Where are we? Stevie Mack is saying, I'll slum it with a Parker, but that's as low as I'm prepared to go. This is something I'll notice. I'll just make some kind of offhand comment and then blether on about something else. And the next time I look back at the chat, I've sparked off this whole kind of, thing about different brands of pens and stuff. As I say in all the videos, you know, don't forget the live stream every Friday where we talk about music and guitars and other things as well. And this is we often kind of descend into the other things as well, usually in the back end of the live stream. Pooninger is in. Our scribes use knives to press the clay. No trees for paper here on the moon. Fair enough, mate. David Evans is off. His head's not in a good place at the moment. See you all next week. Well, you look after yourself, Mr. Evans, and we will see you back here when you're feeling a little bit more in tune with the world. And what else have I missed in the chat while I've been blethering away? Oh, yeah, there's more pen stuff. Timbo, Schaefer fountain pen with a gold nib. Stole it from our chemistry teacher. The Lamb is saying, I do think the effects compliment on the Cortex Nano is rather shameful. That has been said. To kind of be charitable to them, I think that they're possibly aiming it at somebody at the kind of player who already has, a comprehensive pedal board that they don't need to have that duplicated on their amp profiler. But yeah, it is for was it 500 odd quid? You'd think they could have put a bit more in there rather than one reverb and one delay. So anyway, I'm not going to say I'm going to buy one, but I don't know why that Cortex Nano has just piqued my interest in a way that like the Tonex didn't, and various other kind of similar things just haven't really. I don't know why. Maybe it's just because there's a Y in the day or something. I've got to put this up on screen. Fun fact, Biffy Clyro are named after a pen. It was a piss take because the bassist owned a Cliff Richard biro. Cliffy Biro, Biffy Clyro. True story, apparently. Fair enough. Fair enough. It's just, I haven't heard of Biffy Clyro in ages, and I've forgotten about them. But yeah, Cliffy Biro, Biffy Clyro. Yeah, I can see that. Where are we? Well, again, all this talk about pens, I've really sparked something off here, haven't I? Rent to Kill is saying, I remember those fountain pens with ink cartridges used to piece, then the bloody ink went everywhere. Yes, they did. We actually, in the final year of my primary school, funnily enough, we were told that we had to write with pen and ink. We had an inkwell on the desk, and the teacher used to come round on a morning and fill up all of our inkwells, and we were required to kind of learn how to write with it and blot. You blot your page before you turn the page over and all that sort of stuff. And then we got to secondary school and everybody's using, just a cheap biro. So it was time invested that didn't really have any sort of return, really. Where are we? Anyway, in the dying moments of the game, let's see what else I can kind of deliver a wry comment on. Let's have a go. Music, guitar, and calligraphy. Yes. Oh, and Platinum. Now there was a pen. Yes, the set of 30 Platinum felt tip colouring pens. That was a stocking filler for me one year at Christmas. Cylon Hybrid is saying, back in the 70s, 80s, etc., getting a good guitar in the UK was pure luck. Indeed, it was, mate. Triple Distiller saying, can you treat the modes, John? We've heard a lot about normal skills, but what about the rest? I did do a series on modes ages ago. There's a lot of mystery surrounding them, and maybe I'll revisit it at some point in the not too distant future. But the whole modal thing, I did kind of get a little bit obsessed with it and did kind of video after video after video on the topic. And then I just thought, you've kind of probably gone on a bit too much about this, and maybe it's time to leave it alone. But it's been a good 2 or 3 years since I've done any kind of video on modal kind of scales and stuff like that. In truth, there's nothing really mysterious about them. It's just that there's a lot of confusion about how they're played and what they're derived from and stuff, and how to think of them. But yeah, that's something I might delve into at some point in the future. I've got a few ideas for how to move the channel forward, because I'm doing the Rhythm Guitar Wednesday thing is kind of coming to a close, and I've moved on to another series of videos after that you'll see kind of feeding through on the channel in the coming weeks. But maybe at some point I will do something on modes. Anyway, we're 59.5 minutes in, and I said I'd finish this beer before the end of the live stream, so and then it was gone right before your very eyes. I'm a magician. I can make beer disappear. And that's it for this week, folks. Thank you once again for turning up and watching a fat, bald northern lad talk absolute cobblers for an hour. It's been a blast, and I'll keep on doing it till you're sick of me. But for now, time, gentlemen, please.